Enter Bollywood. Sab milega. ZoomTV.in.
Any reference to Vinod Chopra? You've done like smaller movies with him earlier, and then the big ones he made without you. So and now he's making similar kinds of movies again on a bigger scale, of course.
Well, no, I don't think he's making similar movies. I think his movies are getting bigger and bigger. He's getting more and more ambitious. I wasn't referring to him in particular. There are a number of filmmakers I was indicating. People who were making those offbeat movies because they didn't have the confidence to make a mainstream movie. This celebrated Marxist filmmaker who sent both his sons to study in America, you know, and he made films about Marxism. And he would preach Marxism. Vidhu Vinod is a sort of representative of that generation, in my opinion. To his credit, you'll have to say that he gave Rajkumar Hirani a chance.
Yeah.
Now, that's the only thing I can find to say in favor of Vidhu Vinod. We wouldn't have seen the Munna Bhai films, you know, if it weren't for Vinod.
If it was, and Three Idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vinod didn't make them, by the way, in case, you know, any viewers are confused. Vinod produced them.
Yeah, and someone like Subhash Ghai also, you had this little chip on the shoulder about him because, you know, he made you do stuff which you were not comfortable doing, and now he's doing smaller cinema as well.
It's the same kind of cinema made with a smaller budget, that's about all. I don't think those films are small in any way. He can't think small. I wish he would, but I think a person like him is too far gone to, you know, for anybody to expect him to draw inspiration from real life. The more celebrated you become, the more rich you become, the more isolated you become also. The more cut off from real life you become.
But you always backed, you know, young enterprising filmmakers like Farooq, you know, who's made Allah Ki Bande, making Allah Ki Bande with you. You've always been there for that kind of cinema. And it's very encouraging to see that you still have that fire in the belly for this kind of cinema.
I feel very, very gratified, frankly, when youngsters come to me and offer me leading parts in their movies. I feel equally gratified if they come to me and say, we want you to do one scene. They still have a need for an actor like me, and it's a very good feeling. And as far as first-time filmmakers go, it wasn't by choice that I worked with so many first-time filmmakers at the beginning of my career, nor is it by choice now. It just so happens that these are the most interesting parts that I've been getting. And it's the fact that there are so many first-time filmmakers among them is coincidence, really.
Okay.
It's not intentional.
What attracted you to do Allah Ke Bande?
The fact that it's looking at a problem which we would rather not look at, even in real life. Forget about Hindi movies. If Hindi movies ever present this situation, it is highly sugar-coated. And before you know it, the children burst into song in the orphanage, you know. To me, a film that's being made by a person who has experienced the problem firsthand, though Farooq is not from that kind of he's from a good family, but he's a person who's empathized with kids in this plight. He wants to make an honest film, and he doesn't have much money, and he wants me to play a part, and that was good enough reason, you know. But the part I'm playing it's really it's a deliciously wicked character. I love playing these kind of parts. Playing the good guy is so boring. I like playing twisted characters.
Deals with juvenile delinquency also?
That's right.
To an extent?
That's right. It deals with the effect of these so-called reform homes that child criminals are sent to.
That's been in the news lately also for, you know, children being abused. A lot of these orphanages, you know, under the guise of protection, they abuse the children. Yeah. That happens a lot?
It happens a lot. And it's difficult if you visit one of these places to imagine how anybody can ever get cured in a place like this. And everyone is an Allah ka banda, you know.
Yeah.
Whether you were born in the slums, whether you were born to a beggar, or whether you were born on an air-conditioned flat in Malabar Hill. And the problems you're going to have to face in your life are going to be the same. Life is going to test you at some point. And you may not pick up a gun. But what the film says, that just imagine the plight of a child who at the age of 12 picks up a gun. You know, it isn't easy.
Yeah, they become sex havens also, most of these, for exploitation.
A sexual exploitation certainly takes place, but it's by no means the only kind of exploitation.
Absolutely, yeah.
There are many other, sometimes more awful ways where children are maimed, where they're crippled, where they're disabled, just in order to collect arms. It's impossible to imagine how a human being can do this to another human being,
Do you have a twisted side to you or a dark side to you?
A lot of my directors will say so. I don't think any of my co-actors will say so. I think everybody does.
There's a lot of anger within you. Is it still there, or you keep it simmering?
It's genetic.
It's genetic. Yeah, because you hear stories about you, like when you get angry, one slap.
Not anymore.
No?
You haven't heard a story like that for many years.
How was it working with Sharman? Like, so he's become very big after.
Yeah, this was before Three Idiots.
Before Three Idiots,
But I thought he's a lovely actor when I saw him in Rang De Basanti. I don't think Sharman has done much work on the stage. I really don't know about that. But he is a very, very wonderful actor. I was a little alarmed to see how bulky he'd become. But I must say I preferred the thin Sharman. I think he looked much more vulnerable and much more interesting then. Yeah. And I hope Sharman realizes that being muscle-bound is as much of a limitation as being too, feeble. An actor must have a body which is capable of change and which can look strong when it's required to and look weak when it's required to. I suppose that's not true of stars.
So you wouldn't say you were not counting yourself in there?
No, I'm not. And I'm not being modest. I think, nature saved me from stardom while giving me all I needed and all I'd ever desired. I don't think I was very well qualified for stardom in Hindi movies because I hadn't prepared myself for it. I didn't expect ever that I would be singing songs and dancing around trees, which I had to do. Yeah. I consulted Mr. Shammi Kapoor, who has been one of my idols, perhaps the only idol I have in Hindi cinema, apart from Dara Singh. And when I had to do a song for the first time, so I went to meet him and he said, he laughed it off. And he said, come on, just apply yourself. What do you mean, apply yourself? I mean, if I'm doing aapki topi, aapka kurta, mera kurta, aapka chashma, I mean, what do you mean, apply yourself? He said, I never listened to a dance director, all those idiots. I taught them what to do, what you feel like doing. But unfortunately, I didn't have that kind of confidence that Shammi had, because Shammi gave performing a Hindi film song its form. Yes. He's the man. Tedious to listen to that song more than twice. So forget about listening to it all day and practicing to it all day, which he probably did, which is why he was so good at it.
Yeah.
I'm the only actor who exploits Bollywood.
The girl in the yellow boots got a standing ovation at the Toronto Film Festival. Yeah. So what was that experience like?
I've always wanted to work with Anurag. I love his films, with one exception. I think Paanch, the film of his which never got released. I think all his other films have been marvelous. Even a film like No Smoking, which didn't do well at all, I thought it was very funny and wonderful. So I think he's one of the most exciting talents, but Anurag wanted me in it and I felt mighty pleased to be in it. A guy like Anurag making the serious movies, a guy like Neeraj Pandey on the sidelines. Yeah. I really look forward to what Neeraj is going to do in the small cinema bracket. On the popular side, people like Rajkumar Hirani, Farah Khan, Zoya and Farhan Akhtar. I think things are looking good. These are filmmakers whose work I really look forward to.
You've never been particular about the length of your role. What convinces you to do a movie in spite of on-screen?
The movie itself.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I feel that this movie could do with my participation and would in some way benefit from my participation, whether I'd benefit from it or not is not a criterion. I never thought of that even while doing Tridev. I did Tridev out of curiosity, frankly.
Never shied away from voicing your opinions and your views. You've been brutally honest. Has that alienated you to some extent?
From?
From the rest of the industry?
I've never felt very much a part of the film industry, tell you the truth. I don't have any friends in the film industry, apart from Danny, who is a close friend, someone like Tinu Anand, and Jackie. These are, and Shekhar, who was a friend before movies, who are the only three people from the film industry I know who've ever come to my home or to whose homes I've been. Apart from that, I don't find film industry people terribly interesting. The lifestyle of the film industry, the exuberance, the constant telling of anecdotes, the massive consumption of bogus black label, you know, it gets me down. It's not my scene.
You want the real stuff.
There was a survey which showed that there's more black label consumed in the film industry than is produced in Scotland.
You always get upset at people who glorify, you know, their rags to riches stories.
There have been some rags to riches stories which are authentic and which are true, and those are the people who don't boast about it. I have no admiration for those born with golden and diamond studded spoons in their mouths. I don't think they've done anything. But I have great admiration for the younger generation of actors in the Bombay industry today. I think they've all made it on their own steam, and they're all very disciplined and hard-working guys. I think the craft of acting is finally evolving in our films.